All right, let's get into episode 2. Storyline definitely moves along a little bit in this one. First one was 50s, now we're getting to the 60s. The opening to the show is so much fun. It's an original take, but definitely derived from the inspiration of Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie. These are reruns of my childhood. I watched them growing up, and I just watching this felt like, oh my gosh, they made this in 2021. How cool. It looks fantastic. The music is original, but also definitely has the feel of other songs. So I thought it was kind of cool and unique in that way.
Yeah,
I'm big on.
the
Oh,
music was the
go
same
ahead.
people as Frozen. That was pretty cool. Saw that on Twitter today.
Well, and like yeah, and Frozen's great musical. I like to pay attention to the recaps on all the shows I watch. You know, I'm rewatching Lost right now. That one's a great recap show. They show it, they're like previously on Lost, and then they give you the rundown. It's the important stuff. Okay, so the recap for WandaVision, the acknowledgement that they know they have powers. They made a point to show us that again. They show us Agnes. They show us um, the dinner with the hearts, of course, the big scene at the end. The why, they show the choking again, so they definitely want us to remember that that guy was down on the ground. And they even showed us the sword van with the journal, which you that's almost like an in credit scene to me. So I thought they might leave that out and leave it in the back of our mind. No, no, no. They're like, pay attention. And sword comes back around in this episode. We'll talk about it. Episode opens up Wanda and Vision in separate twin beds, wake up to crazy noises. She's using her powers to turn the lights on and off. Vision looks out the window. All he sees is rose bushes. They're both very scared and they don't want to go out there. And they're like, you go check it out. You go check it out. Vision tells Wanda, I heard the guys at work say that there are some new shady characters in town. And Wanda's like, they're talking about us. You dipshit. And I thought that was hilarious. He's like, no way. And she's like, yeah, it's got to be us. They ignore the sound outside. They're like, whatever, it's fine. But very obviously scared of it. Um, they open after the Bewitched Genie kind of opening. Also in the opening, it was cool. They teased out like these new characters we're gonna get. People we hadn't met yet, and they put them in the cartoon figure. So you're like, oh, we're getting some new people. Wanda and Vision are preparing for a talent show. Vision is a magician. They actually roll out this like giant box, which was like comically large, and they're gonna make Wanda disappear out of it. This is where I realized that Paul and Elizabeth Olsen are just an absolute joy to watch. They're so good on screen. Their banter back and forth, the love between them, the smiling. Um, they're just unbelievable actors, and they're committed 100%. And I'm just buying every scene they're in. They look fantastic. So we found out that the talent show is for this township fundraiser, and it's for the children. Wanda wants to fit in. She tells Vision this, so he says, all right, we're going to try to win this thing. We're going to try to win the talent show. It's going to get us in the community. And what we find out is that really it's like going to be basically like them proving to everyone else that they're like regular go-lucky people. There's nothing weird about them. Well, before this, Vision goes to the neighborhood watch meeting at the library. And this is where we get some of these hilarious banter between Vision and these other guys in the neighborhood. They say, hey, do you want some Danish? And that's when he says, I don't eat. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, oh, I mean, I don't eat between meals. He's like, but when I do eat, when mealtime comes, I'm a real eating machine. Oh my God. I laughed the second time.
And
This is where he gets the gum. Somebody gives him big red gum. Well, first, before that happens, he's asking about like, what do you guys do for the neighborhood watch? What are your protocols? I heard this crazy noise. I'm looking after my family, and they're like, what are you doing here? First of all, like they have that look, right? And then they say like, we don't really talk about that. And Herb pats him on the back and is like, oh, I'm glad that we got past that protocol stuff. We can just relax. You're cool with us now. And I was like, okay. So they didn't want him looking into anything. And gives him a piece of big red gum. He chews it. The guy hits him on the back. It goes down to his system, and there's this like nice animation that shows you what's happening. Very 60s. and it like is gonna mess up Vision. You're like, what's gonna happen to him?
Almost like looks like the board game Operation from the 60s, kind of gears and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it did. Just those turning gears, cool 2-dimensional animation. Okay, so the talent show, again, for the children. If you don't think it's important, it's on the sign. It's underlined at the fundraiser for the children. It's important. This is where, all right, so Vision, the magician, he gets to the, before we get to the talent show, Wanda goes to the planning committee, and Agnes, who's like, again, here to be her ally, gives her advice and says like, hey, man, Dottie is the key to everything. They're not even beating around the bush on this one, okay? Dottie's important. She runs the party committee. She's a real bitch. She's mean to everybody, and she's very rude, and she's like, my way or the highway. This is where we get introduced to a character that she calls herself Geraldine. But as we believe, at least me, based on everything we've read and seen, this is Monica Rambeau, daughter of the friend of Captain Marvel, the little girl in Captain Marvel. She's grown up now. The theory is she might be like an agent of S.W.O.R.D., but she doesn't even know why she's there. And there's actually a really dark line, and they put a laugh track behind it. She says, I'm just sitting here terrified because I'm too scared to move. And then they put a laugh track behind it. And you're like, oh my God, she doesn't even know like why she's here.
Is she the one that like Wanda asked her name and she can't say her name until Wanda touches her?
Oh, Mike, did you notice that?
Nope, read it online. But but yeah, she doesn't know her name until Wanda touches her, and it like jars her memory of who she's supposed to be.
Or
in this
who she's supposed to be. Gave her a name, right?
Yeah.
And every time they speak, every time they're having this crosstalk, Dottie's like, hey, hush up, be quiet. Like she's not letting them converse really. Gets real wild at the end of the planning committee. They're having a chat, just Wanda and Dottie. Wanda's like, I want to fit in. I want to be here. I want to be part of this community. Dottie's like, I don't believe what you're saying. And Wanda says, I'm not here to harm anyone. And Dottie says, I don't believe you. There's static on a radio next to him. And through comes a voice. And there's this close-up moment where it takes you out of the world they've put you in. And now we're in the personal space of these characters. It really grabbed me again. Dottie looks terrified of the voice coming through. And it's going, Wanda, Wanda, Wanda. Who's doing this to you, Wanda? And it stops. It breaks. It kind of explodes. Dottie cuts her hand. And then they kind of get back to Dottie's like, leave me alone. You're not cool. And just kind of forgets that it even happens. The theories, right? Who is this voice coming through? Is it someone from S.W.O.R.D.? Is it someone with like Nick Fury, a team? I also had the theory that maybe it was Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, because he's like alive and they're friends at the end of Endgame.
We also have the color. When she does get cut in her hand, you actually see the red of the blood.
Yes, and I forgot one major part.
In the beginning,
she found the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the helicopter that's in color. It has the S.W.O.R.D. logo on it as well.
And it's Iron Man colors. I don't know anything about what it is, but it was in Iron Man colors. So
I'm just guessing that's just part of her like reality or her view towards Stark as a whole. Like she's just attributing it to him. I don't know. This is crazy. Like it's got to be a real helicopter probably that was there. I don't know. It's just there's so many things that I need these questions answered now.
Yeah, and there is a helicopter in the trailer for the show.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Clearly, they're trying to get into this reality somehow from the trailers, and I mean, I think, they even show Monica Rambeau coming out of that area, correct? In one of the trailers.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
It doesn't. that one lady that we don't know is helping Wanda or not show up right when she finds the helicopter too.
Yes.
Like,
Right
what are you
whenever
doing?
she's like having a moment of like,
Like
what
kind of scared, a little panicked or something.
little panicked, little what is this? Starts to think of something, and then Agnes shows up.
Yeah.
So-
And then Agnes also said earlier, like, she said something in the episode, like, the devil's in the details, and that's not the only place he is. And, like, I just thought that was kind of weird, like a weird comment. Like, you just look at everything with a fine-tooth comb because you think it's portraying something in the future, or like a Easter egg or a hint at something, like Mike said, like about Lost. That's such a great analogy. I didn't even think about that.
Well, could that quote right there? I'm just spitballing. I haven't. This is not from the internet. This is from big brain me right now. If she's saying the devil's in the details and all the sixes are missing, 666 is the mark of the beast. Is something connecting there?
I mean, she's the Scarlet Witch, right? I mean, it could be something totally like that.
Yeah, and I know, and from the other preview scenes that you see, like, she puts on, like, they put on like Halloween costumes, and she is like she puts on like actual, like, comic accurate Scarlet Witch outfit. So I don't know. That's something that definitely I'm going to keep an eye on, Mike. That's a great call on that.
And
for sure.
and there's a lot of stuff like that. Again, like you guys are saying, looking at it with a fine tooth comb to where it doesn't mean something or not. Agnes is like a drunk. She drinks a lot. You're like, okay, does that mean something? And she's also always talking about her husband Ralph. She's like, teach him. She's like, how about teach your husband how to goose so you don't lose her or something like that. And then during the magic show, he's like, I'm gonna make Wanda disappear. And she's like, how about you make my husband Ralph disappear?
That was one of the best lines for sure.
Yeah, my husband Ralph. She's like says it the whole thing. She's hilarious, by the way. We haven't really talked about
Have we met Ralph?
No,
I don't think so.
we haven't.
It hasn't been a minute.
So talking about the magic show, moving the story along, it is time for the show. Again, guys, it's for the children. They say it. I mean, they say it like literally 10 times. This is like a prove you're cool, prove that you're not weird. And Visions shows up and he's gum drunk. All right, the guy's he's drunk, he's broken, he's not working right, and he's hilarious. He has so many funny lines throughout this whole thing. He starts to fly, and she's like, "Oh no!" They're all like, "Oh, how are you doing this?" She uses magic. It's a rope.
He talks about horseshoes too, and he's hilarious when he's like, "Shoes of horses we played," and all that stuff. So.
And his voice is like comically funny. He talks about the horseshoes. He's like, "I was wearing his shoes." It's that horse head that walks by. Some guy in a horse mask. He says to the people, he's like, all right, we're going to show you things and we're going to lie to you. And because humans' minds can't grasp blah, 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 I can't wait to see your dumbstruck little faces, he says to the crowd at one point. And he picks up the piano next. And Wanda's like, like turns it into like a piece of cardboard and walks off. And that guy goes, that was my grandmother's piano. He's like, what happened to it? This was a weird part too. Herb, he's like, pick a card. And he goes through the whole deck until the last one. And he's like, oh, it is my card. He goes, oh, well, Herb, take it back then. I guess that was the joke.
Yeah. That guy with the piano, though, might be my favorite in the whole show. He's the beatnik.
You know who he looks like? He looks like Ross Geller's like little brother.
Yeah. I just wore a turtleneck.
That's an unfortunate comparison for him.
Yeah, it is. Vision puts the hat through his body, and everybody's like, "Oh man, how'd you do that?" She puts mirrors behind him. That one girl goes, "Is that how mirrors work?" Just really good, timely stuff. And then the grand finale, my husband Ralph. We talked about that line, and they start chanting, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" Because Vision messes up. He doesn't put Wanda in it. Wanda snaps her fingers. Boom, out comes Geraldine, a.k.a. who we think Monica Rambeau, unconfirmed thus far. And it's the three of them. It felt like to me the three of these folks are in it together. because they're like, you know what I mean? They bow together at the end. It seemed like Monica, Vision, and Wanda. It's the three of them. Did you guys feel that too?
I agree for sure.
One thing I noticed, well, Dottie stops them from leaving the talent show. They won. They're the funniest one that's ever been, and they win the inaugural award for comedy, best comedy or something like that. So they won the thing. Mrs. Hart was in the crowd too, if you noticed. Not Mr. Hart, but she's there, and they keep showing her close up. Okay, they come home. Again, they're like, okay, good job today. Love you. You get some heartfelt moments. They said, and we did it for the children. Boom, she's pregnant. She's got a belly. And I had to look this up, but this is the comic lore. It's been talked about all year, that these are twins and that their names would be Wiccan and Speed. And that's from Nerdist. If they do go down this road, Wanda and Vision do have kids in the comics. They're called Wiccan and Speed. Now, is this really happening? Absolutely unconfirmed. This could just be noise. Or it could be like, hey, these are new characters that might be able to live out of this reality. But I know that there was an interview with Elizabeth Olsen about this, and she couldn't confirm or deny if they were going to be like young Avengers or something.
It's Mary-Kate and Ashley confirmed.
You heard it here.
I'm just kidding.
It takes two.
We'll see, though. I mean, I want to see these kids. We know that we've seen them in the teasers and the trailers, like the babies like making stuff float in the air, and there are two of them. So we know they're at least twins. We'll see who they are.
Did you say one's name was Wiccan?
Yeah, Wiccan is what I got here.
Okay. I don't know if that's kind of, I don't know, Wiccan, like, I don't know.
Well, again, like witch. That's a witch, right? That's like another word for witch or something. Or or like a group of witches, I think, maybe. Okay, so then this is like the big part of the episode. Big noise outside again. They're like, you know what? We're going out there this time. Get out to the street. This is one of those moments that pulls you out of TV feeling into like, wow, they're terrified. This manhole opens up. Out comes a beekeeper. Got an image of him here, I think. Oh, I haven't switched screens even. I'll have to fix this in post. But here we go. Here's an image of our beekeeper. Got some other images here for you too. Paul Bettany at the talent show. The bed. Can't really tell who this is in the photo. Comes in close on Wanda right when he looks at her, and she just says, and again, a more like serious and intentional voice, no. It rewinds. What does this tell me? And then like, so they kiss, and like, it's like the moment never happened, right? Then they just move forward and love. They never went outside. This tells me she did this. She's like, I'm not dealing with this today, and just rewound time. Or maybe not. You know, someone else could have done this. Maybe somebody else didn't want her to see what was happening yet. So we'll see. They get back in the house. And at this point, this moment, man. These two are such great actors. When she says, "Vision, is this real?" Like, I got so teary-eyed because I was like, "Oh man, he's dead." And like, are they like getting? This is what it tells me is we're getting this love story of these two, and they're gonna break our hearts in the end. I'm warning you.
We're gonna build Vision up to be someone that we don't dislike, and then just rip them from us. That's not right.
I agree. I hope not. I hope we get him back.
I think it could happen potentially. I mean,
do you remember back like episode 1? She even talked about his head being indestructible.
Yes, immediately. We didn't even talk about that immediately.
Yeah. So
that's a good point, Mike. I mean, that's exactly how that's how he goes. Okay, so just wrapping up the episode. They come back in, they have their lovely moment, and everything starts to go to color. And man, it was emotional. It was so cool. It looks amazing. You get visions like that maroon, whatever color that is. Wanda's in her red shirt. This looks so good. The TV we're getting nowadays, it's like, what is this TV show that's like taking us through generations of TV, and it just looks so good. Here's my overall thoughts of it. And we'll give you guys the floor too. I think it's a great show. I think it's a soft, like, easy-ish entry into phase 4 just with these 2 episodes. but we talked about it. I know it's going to end with a bang. You talk about this budget we know about the trailer we've seen. And I think, this is exactly what Marvel Studios does. They get you excited for the next thing. So I think it's going to be one of those like bittersweet endings where it's over, but like we're going to be jumping. That's our jumping off point. The end of this show is the jumping off point for the rest of what happens. And I'm just so impressed with the whole team, and I just feel lucky. I said this on Twitter, but I feel like it's a mystery that the characters and the fans are like, we're figuring it out along with Wanda and Vision, and that feels cool. PC Mike, what were your thoughts on episode 2?
Again, with all kind of putting everything together, I mean, it's really kind of taking shape. Like I said, I was very hesitant coming in. I had no idea what it was. But now, like, am I going to be that guy on an internet forum later on Reddit, like trying to figure some stuff out? Maybe. But I don't want to spoil because I just searched some things and like they were talking about Dottie. Okay. They're like, who's excited for this Marvel villain to be in the universe now? And I'm like, I can't click on that. Yahoo. Like, I can't. But I was just kind of following along on the Wikipedia, and it does say that Wanda is the one that changed it at the end to like speed up to go to the 70s. And then the commercial, we didn't talk about this commercial yet that was in this.
Oh, no, we didn't. And actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because we have something for our Mostly Superhero squad that ties directly to this ad. And it was this ad that says like, hey, all you need is 2 things in your life: your special lady and your Strucker watch. The Strucker was the Hydra Nazi that created Scarlet Witch and what's his name? Silver. What's his
Quicksilver.
name? Quicksilver. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Silver Surfer for some reason. And
his name's, I think, Wolfgang von Strucker, right?
Yes, and he used the Mind Stone, Loki's Mind Stone, to create these 2. And the Mind Stone is the password to the Mostly Superhero Squad fan page. So with it being the first week, WandaVision's here. It's a capital M, Mind Stone. You get over there, the exclusive piece of content that will be waiting for you at this point will be our Monday video episode from our Instagram show that we do every Monday at noon. So get over and use Mind Stone. But Mike, what was your thoughts on the ad here?
Like I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I started looking it up. And now I'm like, these ads mean a lot more than just some like little quirky type things in there. So yeah, everything means something in this show. And thank goodness there's people out there that will dissect every single second because I'll miss a lot of stuff. But yeah, after this podcast, I am more in than I was after I watched the show. So I think that's a good job by us kind of looking at all the details and kind of getting people ready for the upcoming episodes too.
Well, and that's well said, but I'll also say this, talking about the spoilers and stuff that's out there, I really do, even now as big of a nerd as I am, I still try to stay away from it because I don't want spoilers. And here's the thing. I've never needed to know that comic book stuff before for MCU films. You didn't catch me like trying to figure out stuff in Iron Man 2 or, I was just like, I watched the movie. I'd catch the Easter eggs. I'd watch the end credit scene and I'd be like, oh man, I can't wait for the next thing. And I feel like this, I don't even need those tie-ins. I feel like Marvel does such a good job of telling the story.
Have you ever read a spoiler on accident and it ruined the movie before you see it? Has that ever happened to either of you?
Not bad enough to where I am remembering a specific one. No, I think there was like stuff like in Endgame to where like you knew it was going to be like a Captain or a Iron Man situation. So you were just like prepared, but not in terms of knowing details. No.
Yeah. Luckily I think I've escaped that too, but I'd be pretty pissed if someone's at fault for that, they're going down.
I've swore that like, you do that, I'll write you off. Like we'll never speak.
The only one that's even close for me was The Dark Knight Rises. I saw something come out that Tula al Ghul was in it, and this chick played a young Tula al Ghul. So that was in my mind the whole movie, and I was like, oh, I see what's coming. So that's the only one that's ever been close to that for me. But I still, gosh, that was 2012. That was 9 years ago, and I still remember it. So
That's what.
good job, spoiler.
That's what I was saying. It's like I feel like I would remember. And hey, just so you know, listeners, that's our goal. We'll always give you those spoiler alerts. You can see how strongly we feel about spoilers, so we'll prevent ourselves from doing it to you as best as we can. All right, let's talk about what's coming up on the show. I revisited the trailer just so we could kind of wrap up like what might be possible. So we're gonna see their lives continue to play out over decades, like getting closer to real time. We see Geraldine or Monica again later, but she knocks on the door and Wanda goes, "Who are you?" So she doesn't even remember her from before. So it seems like maybe she'll be gone for a while and then like reappear maybe in the next episode. Maybe like she's coming and going, maybe working with Sword. We'll see. We also got a glimpse of Darcy from Thor. How is she going to tie into this story? And what's going on with the Thor characters and how are they going to play a role in WandaVision? We do see a helicopter. We see Wanda and Vision say, "This is our home. Let's fight for it," using kind of like their powers full on. Like, when's that going to happen? What are the circumstances of which it happens? I don't consider these even spoilers because it's like you just don't have enough context. It's leading to something big. It's got a giant budget. I've seen people online already trashing it, just saying like, "This is a boring show." Like, oh my God, this is not a boring show. It's not going to be a boring show. It's going to end with a bang. It's going to be a bittersweet ending that breaks your heart but gets you pumped for the rest of the MCU. I think it's going to be a love story at the end of the day. Maybe something about Wanda and Vision living a life they never got to live, and we're watching it. Will Vision come back to life? Will we see another tragic goodbye? And where will Wanda exit, and what in the world will be coming next for the characters that come out of this? We are going to be here to walk you through it and talk about it. Any final thoughts on WandaVision, fellas?
I just looked it up. It's 9 episodes total. 9 total.
Thank
So
you.
it ends March 5th. So if I'm doing, there's going to be like double episodes in decades, maybe. I don't know how they're going to do it by jumping decades, but maybe there's like 2 in the 2020, something like that. So
it will be interesting to see how they do it. And when this ends, just so you know, just like we did with Iron Man 2, the next things you're going to need to be thinking about title-wise. So Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, that stuff will be happening. But what storylines will be most affected by WandaVision? My guess, and direct, we know some of this, Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, just because we know there's a tie-in there with Multiverse of Madness, so maybe there'll be a tie-in with WandaVision. We've heard that Monica Rambeau will be on the new show Miss Marvel, so that'll be some kind of tie-in, as well as Hawkeye, because WandaVision and Hawkeye, Clint are friends per the end of Endgame. So there's your connection for what titles are coming up. Like I said, we're going to keep this straight for you. It's hard to watch TV nowadays. You might not have realized how all this connects. Maybe your kids are watching this stuff. We're going to explain it. Don't worry. We'll keep you in the know. Okay, let's talk about what's coming up on the show.